What is up, people? Welcome back to another video on this YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be running over how to tackle the 4 most common style of bases in Legends League with my Root Rider army. And if you haven't seen my videos before, I'm using the Rage Gem and the Healing Tome with the Root Riders. The army link is in the description of the video. And without further ado, let's get right into the first style of base. So the first base that we're going to be looking at is the double rage ring base. Now this is where you have the 2 big rage towers and the town hall in the core. Now generally, some people try and spirit walk the rage towers. I would stay away from spirit walking the rage towers as you do have 5 Invis spells. It can be enough sometimes, but any traps, the nado, you're going to run into troubles going for those rage towers. So generally what I like to do on this style of base is go into one of the corners where I don't think there's going to be a lot of traps. For my RC, I want to try and keep the Fox alive for her later into the attack, so that she is not running into any trouble along these rage towers. Now, my second advice for these bases is with the Root Rider entry. You do not want to enter with the Root Riders directly into a rage tower. I'm going to show you guys what I mean in a second once my Spirit Walk is done in this replay here. But what I mean by that is that if you go directly into the rage tower, you're going to have all of the rage damage on just your Root Riders. Whereas I'm able to split up the damage from my Root Riders with my King and my Queen on the outside of the base. I'm going to show you it, guys, right now. You know, I could have entered into that top side rage tower. However, I'm going into this rage tower for this very specific reason, that I want to split the rage damage. Now here I do accidentally pop the Warden ability, which was a bit unfortunate, but it doesn't matter in this attack. Now there you go, you can see I'm using the King and the Ice Golems to split up the damage on the Root Riders, so that those the multi-arch tower and the ricochet cannon is not hitting my Root Riders. My first overgrowth is always on the town hall and some of the back end damage. For example, that fire spitter would have been able to hit me from around about this area. So it's just extra damage that I want to take out of the equation for now and deal with later. Now because we popped the Warden ability a little bit early, we're getting a bit overwhelmed around this quadruple expert area here. Now when the first overgrowth wears off, I'll go for the second overgrowth on the other rage tower. Now you might think, well, you might want to wait for it to pop. No, honestly, you don't even need to worry. The rage tower on the back end, it generally seems to be that when the overgrowth wears off on the back end, you're just on top of this rage tower and it does 0 effect whatsoever. So there we go. As you can see, we still have the King and the Queen ability. I'm going to show you guys what I mean right here. Unfortunately, we weren't quite in time to get to the rage tower and be right on top of it. However, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, I'm going to pop the King ability in just a moment here and the Queen ability. And even though this rage tower may look scary, it's not actually very scary at all. It does take out my Warden there, which is a bit unfortunate, but this is a nice triple considering we misclicked the Warden ability at the very start of the attack. So I hope that does help with tackling these double rage ring bases. They probably are the most common style of base right now in Legends League. I see them all the time. But anyways, let's get into the next style of base. So the next style we're going to cover is the double poison ring base. Now, although this style of base is slightly less common now, it was very, very common a couple of seasons ago. And I thought it was worth covering because you guys may run into this style of base in Legends. However, the approach is generally the same as the ring base. I'm trying to not spirit walk one of the spell towers. I know that on this base, they're pretty heavily baited. And that tends to be the general idea with the spell towers. People tend to put the traps all around it. So as you can see, instead I'm going to go for this fire spitter here so that I can enter behind it, or the RC will take it down. I use the Invis to redirect there because I do need to take down this first, inner ring of defenses here so that my Root Riders will path in the right direction. And I'm going to be using the overgrowths in a very similar way, where I'm going to use the first overgrowth on the town hall and the first overgrowth on the town hall and some of the damage which is long range. I'm talking about fire spitters and expos, which we can deal with later in the attack rather than have those hitting my Root Riders during the attack. And then the second overgrowth is just somewhere on the back end. So as you can see, we're coming in with the Root Riders here. I'm just keeping an eye on my Queen. She's set a really, really good funnel very, very quickly, and she is moving into the damage. However, my Root Riders are pathing exactly where I want to. I'm going to poison the furnace, and there you go, overgrowth the town hall. Notice how I cover the expo and the fire spitter, both long range forms of damage which would be hitting me right now, which is unnecessary damage that I can deal with, as I said, later into the attack. Now with these poison bases, the poison towers do generally tend to be quite lethal, so I'm normally holding my warden ability for around there. And as you can see, I'm going to freeze my RC in place where I think she is going to easily be able to wrap around quickly and grab the town hall for me, so that it doesn't do a whole lot of damage to my root riders or RC. And as you can see, I'm going to overgrowth the monolith there on the back end, as I said. Now unfortunately the poison tower on the back end is quite a pain. It can be lethal, but as you can see, I still have the king and the queen ability. I have a skelly spell, which is quite difficult to use because there is still 2 multis alive, and we do have the headhunter for the enemy heroes. The overgrowth is going to wear off in just a moment. Normally I tend to use the king ability mostly just to push my roots back into the middle. Now as I said, the poison tower is a bit of a pain on the back end. However, this base is tripled. The poison tower launches there, and as you can see, it kind of slows us down. I think we lost the warden somewhere there, but regardless, this is a 3-star. It's pretty crushed. RC does die. Oh no, the warden's right there. What am I talking about? So yeah, that is the double poison ring base style. Cracked for you guys. Refer to this guide anytime you want. Next style of base. Okay, so the next style of base we are covering is the Invis Rage style of base. Now, this is probably the most annoying style of base for this attack strategy. However, it is probably quite uncommon in Legends League for some of you guys. Anyways, I'm looking for the town hall position mostly in this attack, and I want to enter on the far side of the town hall. Now, I'm going to try and explain what that means here. Think of it as like a ring base where you're going to use the overgrowths on the core and kind of split up the overgrowths to take the core down in sections. Now, because the town hall is slightly higher than the center of the base, I want to enter into this bottom side so that when I reach the town hall, when the first overgrowth wears off, I should be on the town hall. I'm using an Invis spell and a Skelly spell to trigger the Invis tower, and then I'm overgrowthing it pretty early on to make sure the Invis tower is not going to activate anytime soon when the first overgrowth is wearing off. Now this is the hook tower variant of the base, so the hook tower is quite annoying in this position. However, there's not a lot we can really do about it. Now this is what I'm talking about, where as the first overgrowth is wearing off, we're on top of the town hall. Okay, it's effectively like entering into the town hall, which generally is the play for this attack. Unfortunately, the hook does yoink our apprentice warden there, so we're going to lose quite a bit of her health points through the remainder of the attack. However, things are looking really good. As you can see, we're on top of the town hall. I had a few extra Invis spells, so I'm going to just keep the town hall off my troops for the moment. The hook tower is still working. It yoinks a witch there, and we are right on top of this town hall. As the second overgrowth is about to wear off, we can pop all the hero abilities. We've got loads and loads of stuff alive. King ability, queen ability, and this base is absolutely crushed. So yes, these bases are very, very annoying. The most important thing is to get down the overgrowth spells and make sure to save an Invis spell so that you can trigger the Invis tower. Otherwise, the Invis tower is going to give you some troubles on the back end. So I hope that gives you guys some help on how to tackle these Invis bases. Let's see what's next. Okay, the next style of base that we're looking at is this really, really common box rage style of base, which was really common last season. Slightly less common this season, but I still decided to cover it. Now, unfortunately, I don't really have a clean replay of this base, so you're just going to have to deal with this slightly unglamorous replay. Now, my approach is generally the same for all of these rage box bases. I want to try and get one of these rage towers down. Now, I know I said previously that the spell towers are normally quite heavily baited. However, on these box bases, the baits tend to be around the monolith area rather than the spell tower area. You can get a little bit unlucky, but to be fair, as long as you reach this rage tower or get down the first layer of defenses, you'll be absolutely fine. Now I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing with my overgrowths. This base is slightly weird because we have the fire spitters facing away, to the town hall. So it kind of does blister my approach a little bit. But anyways, as you can see, I'm going directly into the town hall pretty much. I'm going to use the first overgrowth to cover the entire core there. It's quite hard to get everything, but it doesn't matter. We got all we needed. We have the path directly into the town hall now. And that is basically what you want to do in every single approach for this base. Now, of course, there's many different variants of this base, but generally they're all the same. Now, as I said, this double fire spitter is causing quite a bit of problems. So I decided to go with the second overgrowth early, and somehow I missed the only fire spitter that's actually necessary to get. So it's not really looking great for me there. I had to pop the warden ability. Lots of scary damage. The ricochet is on my warden. The queen is getting frozen just at really an awkward time. And the RC is running a bit away from the root riders. So as I said, not really a very glamorous attack. However, it does show the basic principles of how to attack these double rage box bases. Now I'm in a bit of trouble here because this fire spitter duo is really teaming up on me. But luckily we have enough power to get through. Yeah, really not a very glamorous attack. I didn't have any better replays to show you guys, unfortunately. Normally my approach is a bit cleaner, but these fire spitters did throw me off a little bit. Nonetheless, we were able to get the 3-star here. The Warden does get sniped, which is a bit unfortunate. The Giant is doing a lot of good work, and the RC is still alive. Not a lot left now. We do have the King alive, still really healthy on the outside of the base. So yeah, that is the final style of base that I'm going to show you guys today. Let's just hop into a bit of a recap for today's video. So there we go, that was me going slightly in depth on how to attack the 4 most common styles of base in Legends League with my army. I hope this was useful to you. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to post my Legends hits recently. I've been very busy, so I had to rush them. Bit unfortunate, but I will be back with my Legends hits sooner than later. I hope this video was sufficient enough. And that is all from me for today. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I genuinely do appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's all from me. Goodbye.